everyone. Doc's been talking about vertical extraction shooters for a while. I think most people understand, conceptually what it means when we say verticality, but can you guys just start off talking about vertical extraction shooters and the type of movement we're going to see in Dead Drop?
Sure. Yeah, we could talk about that. I think me and Rob can get that covered a little bit. Yeah, so for us, the obvious thing when it comes to verticality is the tower that you're going to be playing in. It's going to be stretched very vertically instead of horizontally. And so that means our level design is going to take into account how much a player is going to be utilizing the z-axis, looking up and down, and also fighting up and down and moving up and down, all of those kind of things. So for us, we're going for a game, and this is the beauty of it. I mean, certain heights of things, but also other kind of metrics and things and ideas that we could put in our level design. Do we like vertical zip lines? Do we like ladders? What are the kind of things that we want to experiment with and try? And we're listening to everyone on that. But that's when we think about vertical movement, we're not just thinking strictly I walk and run and crouch. There's ways that we want the player to be able to pull themselves up to ledges, have an idea, how do I flank that person, get into a good position to take them out. And so that's when we think of that, it's more in that realm and less about things like I don't know, jetpacks or stuff like that. It's in-world level design movement stuff that you could do as a person today, but augmented a little bit more from a video game standpoint. So that's kind of in regards to the vertical movement. I don't know if you got anything you want to add, Rob.
I always do. I always do. And here's what I've loved about it, right? Is I feel like we've landed on VES, vertical extraction shooter, out of necessity of there being elements of genres we love, ways we like to build levels that just weren't being met currently by the current games, right? Because, a lot of us come from backgrounds of arena shooters where we build arena style maps that have very specific sight lines, right? If you look at like old Call of Duty stuff where you have the 3 lanes and you can sort of strategize around that, you have very set cover points and sight lines, and you can master those areas, right? Halo took a different approach, in arena shooters, but like there's a flow to it that you can sort of master and understand that we really like about it, right? And then when Battle Royale came around, there's a lot of things we love about Battle Royale, right? Mostly the scale of it, both in the environment, but also the player counts that add a really interesting element, right? The fact that it wasn't just teams of 4v4, 6v6, and you can go to those big battle sort of things and get those big sort of free-for-all, last man standing, king of the hill moments of like, 100 players going into a match, right? That was exciting, but really betrayed a lot of the things that were core to how you design arena shooters, right? When you go to that scale. So then you find these battle royale maps that are like huge, but have these points of interest that kind of try to capture that arena shooter moment to moment stuff sometimes, but like misses the marks in some ways. And so like all of those things individually are cool in their own way, right? And I think what we were trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish here with this VES is like, how do we take that scale and scope of those battle royales, right? But capture more of like mastering a level and the flow of level. And like, so I think by sort of going vertical and having these sectors, we get to play around with those philosophies a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you bring up another interesting point too when you talk about mastering things. I mean, so
yeah,
in terms of player movement speed, right? We do have a question here, which I think is great, about plans to vary the movement speeds. And this person also acknowledges that like slower speeds leads like that obviously needs to be front of mind if we're talking about tactical decisions, right? So is that something you guys are already thinking about?
Of movement speed in general, just like trying out different speeds. I mean, I guess that's what the question is kind of getting to. I mean, I posed it back to you, Becca, like you're the one asking it, so I apologize for that. But I mean,
no,
yeah,
that's how I interpreted it as well. So,
yeah. So I mean, for us, movement speed is definitely crucial because I mean, it informs level design and scale and metrics and everything. That being said, we are open to trying new things, and the speed that we have in the snapshot one was very deliberate. We're trying to make a game where the pacing is that deliberate, like tactical kind of shooter. We want kill times to be low, and we want to be able to punish someone if they make a mistake. And you as a player, you need to make interesting decisions as you move around. And so if you aren't being able to just zoom around all the time, that definitely changes how you think. So for us, we are definitely interested in looking at more and how to tweak that a little bit, because we don't know if we've found the secret sauce yet. So that's for us is it's definitely important to keep an open mind with this stuff. But to be clear, we are looking more on the tactical side of movement in regards to speed in our game, for sure.
Yeah, and like a lot of the feedback that we heard and saw, which was expected from variants from the first snapshot, is like, man, we move slow. Like this is a slow movement speed, right? Compared to everything else on the market, and especially for shooters. And as Quinn said, very deliberate, right? Because we think of this as the starting point. Now we are looking at ways, and we've been discussing of like, how do you augment your movement speed, right? And there's been a lot of discussions of like, maybe you do that when you customize your weapon, right? Like maybe it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to take off this stock and put on this stock, and that gives me 0.2 in this speed, right? Or maybe I replace this grip with this grip. And so, and maybe that carries over to the gear and the stuff that you wear, right? The loot that you're finding. And so a lot of the early discussions that we've had, and you'll hear that a lot, right? As not in just this AMA, but in our discussions with variants and everywhere, is in the discussions we've had, right? Because do not take this as like, this is how it's set in stone. Nothing we say is that, right? Game development, and especially this game, is an iterative process. So when we say, oh, we've had discussions about this, that normally means this is what we're going to try first in the snapshot. And then our job collectively is to play it and be like, ooh, yeah, that doesn't really work. Or, oh, like this feels unbalanced. Or like, oh, maybe we move that over to gear instead of being a weapon attachment thing, right? Those are the things that are going to fuel those future conversations. But just to get to the heart of the question, the ideal is by default, right? I'm a combatant in the refiner state. I have no weapon. My movement's going to be slow and tactical. Right? And what we need to look at is like, all right, how can we give the player the ability to augment that based on their playstyle? Because there's going to be people in the audience right now who want to stay slow and tactical, right? They're not running gunners. They're like, hey, I'm going to stay slow. I'm going to focus on making sure that I can be the tank of my group. I'm moving through slowly. I'm making methodical decisions. I'm checking my corners. I got my head on a swivel, right? And then there's going to be people who are like, no, I'm Leroy Jenkins it. I'm running in. I'm going fast. I want to move quickly. I want to do whatever quick movements I can do. If there's tactical slide, I'm sliding into that door, right? Like they're not checking the corners, not doing any of that stuff. There's going to be that diversity of playstyle. And I think what we want to do is support those to a degree, right? I don't think, to Quinn's point, I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where people are flying around on jetpacks or like, marathon running around, being crazy. So I think we are definitely, there is a cap to that diversity of playstyles. And I think we definitely fall if the spectrum is like crazy, super fast gameplay, twitch shooter, and slow methodical, right? I think we definitely fall on this side of the spectrum and are going to stay on that side of the spectrum, but there will be degrees of variability based on the customization of your class or loadout or however we decide to implement that specific customization.
Cool. Right on. Speaking of customization, this player also wants to know if you've scheduled your dead drop tattoo appointment yet.
I have. So here's the thing. I wanted to do it this week. So let's give some context to people who are not part of the variant community. We all met in LA. We revealed the dead drop logo. Some of us lost our fucking minds over it, right? We love it. I've already seen variants getting tattoos. I committed to getting one if they got one. They did it. They followed through. So mine's going right here. Mine's connecting this part. So it's going to be coming out of here, going on the hand. I was going to schedule it for this week, but unfortunately, I have to go on vacation soon and take the kids swimming, which is a big no-no with tattoos. I'm not going to jump in the ocean with a fresh skull on my hands. So I'm going to be doing it as soon as I get back.
Very
So
important.
soon.
Yeah. All right. So dead drop tattoo coming soon. Wonderful. Okay, so let's move on to Crimson Relic is wondering, will dead drop have proximity chat? And they are far from the only person wondering this, but yeah. Thoughts?
Man,
Decisions?
that's a good question. So internally, we have discussed proximity chat, and that is something that we do want to explore. To be clear, though, and even like what Rob is saying, nothing is set in stone. We're going to keep communicating, play testing, sending out snapshots, and when we get it in, we'll get it in. We'll share with the community, and we'll check it out. But that is definitely something that we want to do and try out because we like that emergent style that can come from playing the game. And even internally, as we've started doing some play tests, we've had some uneasy alliances in our game if you have proximity chat. And we're kind of faking a little bit through Discord and everything like that. But if you have a game where you have that, then the whole world opens up to how do you interact with other players, right? Yeah, there are going to be people that talk trash. Yes. Are there going to be people that don't do that? Yes. There's going to be a whole spectrum in between. But for the style of game we're making, we love that idea of a way for players to have that social aspect, that interactivity, connectedness to other players in the world in a way that's not just, shoot anything that moves. Have those interesting conversations. Hey, you good? You friendly? We good? You gonna do anything? And then the other player on the other line, she's like, no, we're not good. And then she shoots you, right? So those are the kind of things that we definitely want to explore, and that's what proximity chat can give
Are
us. So
you
we are looking
implying
into it.
that I'm gonna shoot you?
Hey, you could, and that would be great. We could at least have a conversation about it first in game.
Man,
All right,
yeah.
Quinn.
I love proximity chat, and I'm excited to experiment with it. I'm excited to see how what our community does with it if we try it out in there. But there's just like you touched on, Quinn, there's so many good social moments, emergent social moments that happen because of proximity chat. Like I can think back, not just recently, right, in games, but like a lot of older games that introduced it. Like there's so many good moments I had of like deception and like, communication, friendly communication as well. But like when you get into the deception territory, that's when I feel like proximity chat just sings.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, Crimson Relic also wants to know how soon can we expect to get to PvP snapshots this year?
Oh,
He
baby.
said, yeah, this year question mark.
Crimson Relic is why are they asking all the questions?
They're not. They're just on fire.
They got the good ones.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, it was upvoted. There's 12 upvotes. I'm trying to prioritize, man.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, if you have a variant guide, and we could talk, I don't want to go too off rails on what the variant guide is, but that is something that we're building every snapshot with art and work in progress stuff of the game. And the back cover of the variant guide is always a tease of what we're trying to do in the future for future snapshots. So if you look at that back cover, there's two variants with very different color visor cortexes, and that tells you like, hey, that's us trying to get to and hint and tease that multiplayer is coming soon, and that's what we are playtesting internally now, and we want to get it out as soon as possible. We try not to make promises here, but we just want to be very transparent on where we're headed. And Snapshot 2 is one that we are working really diligently to try to get some sort of multiplayer element so we can test out the weapons, test out how does it feel to shoot at someone else or to be shot at. How does it feel like we got to start testing scale of the environments and all those kind of things that are not just you in a shooting range. So for us, these things are just crucial to try to nail down, and we need other players in a server in order to help make that possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
That was a perfect answer, Quinn. God, I love that.
Smoked
Got me
it.
hyped.
All right. Fiverr Unit Alpha wants to know how many active players are going to be in a game session.
Rob, I'm always going first, man. I say you take this one.
Yeah. The answer is the literal answer is we don't know yet, right? If you ask me today, I would say 100. I want 100 people in that tower as soon as we go, right? How we're building this game in reality, though, is we're gonna do whatever like we can get in that feels good, right? And we're gonna play test it, we're gonna iterate it, and we'll probably grow from there or shrink from there, right? If we can get 100 players matchmaking into the tower and test it out and see if that's garbage, right? See if it's just too much chaos, then sure, let's do it, right? So for me, like when we've talked about it internally and we're like, oh, hey, like now that we're like moving into multiplayer territory and we're, working on optimizing the dedicated servers and the matchmaking and all of that, how many people are we dropping in the match? My answer is always 100, right? But what I don't want to do is I don't want to give any false expectations that it will stay 100 because it may not, right? Because I am open-minded enough to know that we might drop into that tower with 100 players and it is like, shipment with 100 players, right? If we start there or if we have to build to there to test that out based on technical reasons or optimization reasons, we'll figure that out together over the coming snapshots.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah.
Lock it now. Lock it in. We don't ship unless it's 100.
At Midnight Society, we're always 100.
Quinn, that's some voice actor quality.
Oh, hey, now.
Wow. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, while we're still talking about snapshots too, another question from the community, which I think is interesting, is what are your plans, or I'm gonna edit this to say, do you have plans for incentivizing and rewarding variants who extensively playtest the snapshots?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rob?
Yeah. So the short answer is yes, we do. And so right now, so we've introduced early on, we introduced the concept of series patches, right? So most of the people in the community have the Series 0 patch, which was the Claw NFT. That represented everybody in the community. And what we're looking at is how can we extend that concept to reward special milestones in the community. Some of those are, sort of universal, right? It's like, oh, everybody who got this first snapshot should probably have a badge or a patch that represents that, right? But some of them we want to be sort of activity based. So that's what we're exploring now. Like even in the next snapshot, we're looking at ways of like, hey, can we tie in things that you can do in the world, whether it's like exploring around or activities, it doesn't always need to be tied to code, that we can track, that we can award things to, right? So I can tell you right now, our thinking is about doing custom patches for everybody who does things. But if the variants have ideals of what they think would be cool, right? I think right now, while we're focused on gameplay mechanics and stuff, those digital collectibles make sense, right? I think once we get further along in the game's life cycle and we start introducing things like skins and cosmetics and customization in game, then we can start looking at like, does it make sense to reward that kind of stuff? But I think we're a ways off from that right now. Right now, we're in the phase of game mechanics, right? We're not really thinking about cosmetics and monetization and all that stuff. But I think once we get down the road, there is some cool opportunity there. So I would say as a community, let's be thinking about this. But we are actively building in systems now to sort of reward things based on participation, milestones. Some of those will be skill-based. Some of those will not be skill-based, right? Like some of them might be like, oh, hey, we've hidden X amount of things around to encourage people and incentivize people to explore the build, right? Especially as this build gets bigger and bigger, right? Like once this tower starts growing, I'm gonna regret doing this motion once this hits YouTube. But once this starts growing, there's gonna be a lot of space to explore. Oh, I've got off the rails on that one.
Okay,
next question, Becca.
Yeah, so on the topic of, community involvement, it's obviously a huge pillar for us. It's why we're doing what we're doing. We want more collaboration. We want to include people more. So we talked about guild leadership. I think we touched on this maybe in LA as well. Are these going to be community members that are selected by an application process whereby we review them, as a team? Or are these actually going to be people that the community selects or votes on, for example?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And so the guilds and like the eyes, right? Like the eyes are like all the guild stuff. That is a separate membership thing. That is even more exclusive than variants, because where how I like to talk about it is where variants, like claws, are everybody who plays the game, right? That's everybody in our community is a claw. Whether you participate in our community or in the Discord or active or not, if you've downloaded the game at any point and played it, you are a claw, right? That's our mass society. Then variants are a subclass of that, right? They're an exclusive echelon of claws, right? So you could be a claw and a variant at the same time, but not everybody is a variant. And those are people who want to be actively involved in the development of the game, the balancing of the game, the design of the game, the early play testing. Like that's a lot of like our core community, right? Who want to be very vocal, have their voices heard, and be involved in that development process from a gameplay standpoint, right? The eyes, where these guilds fall into, right? And that the embers interact with, those are people who want to be involved in like not necessarily gameplay, right? But they want to be involved in like the content creation around the game. And when I say content creation, I don't mean just making, streams and videos and all that, which is super valuable. I'm talking about like in-game content creation, right? So those are people who are modders or map makers or artists who want to make weapon skins or character skins or all that stuff, right? We have big ambitions for how UGC plays into the future and how all that stuff, map making and creative and all that plays into the future of Dead Drop, right? Now, there's a lot of unanswered questions on how that works and how we make sure everybody's properly credited and incentivized and all of that, which we're going to figure out together. But that subset of creators, the people who are going to be making that stuff and wanting to publish it and distribute it to the active community within Dead Drop, that is the eyes and guilds, right? And so there is a separate membership for that, and therefore there will be a separate application for that. But just like we did the variant stuff, right? An application, the goal of an application, I'm sorry, I'm getting super in the weeds on this, but I want to make sure I answer the question as fully as possible. That is so that we have an understanding of who somebody is. And the reason we do that is to maintain the health of the community. Because just like with variants, what we don't want is we don't want people who are just drive-bying through the community. We want people who want to be here for a long time, be active, and have the best interests of everybody else in the community in their hearts and minds, right? And so, like, I don't want you part of the community if you're just trying to flip something or speculate on something, or like just like you're here for some reason that isn't the long-term health of this community and this game, right? And the same thing applies even more to the guilds, because they are going to be involved in like stuff that all of us are going to experience, right? And so that application process to make us sure that we are weeding out any malintent. But then also, just like we chose variants, there's a whole weighting and scoring system to prioritize people, right? So for example, if somebody has been a variant for a long time and applies to join the eyes, right? They're obviously instantly more desirable than somebody who's fresh into the community, somebody who's never been a part of it and like whatever, right? So they are going to be more prioritized and scored higher in that application process just by default, right? The same thing applied to when we did the application process for variants, is like people who went through the ARG and were part of the Day Zero community were obviously far more likely to be a variant than somebody who just came in on the last day and tried to get an access pass. So the philosophy is very similar.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do anticipate, some people who had applied to be a founder but maybe didn't get accepted. I wonder if there's a way to remember like who those people are, right? And like see if those people also apply in the future.
Yeah.
So
we don't have
wait,
to remember. It's all in the code. It's all in the database.
They're there.
Awesome.
We know.
Yeah. Sweet. And then in terms of, I like that you brought up it's like we want to know who our founders are. We want to know who our variants are and have good ways to identify them and the roles that they want to play in Dead Drop, in Midnight Society, in the community.
Yeah.
Helmet Fire has a question. Can variants have their unique helmets as a unique legendary highest tier skin or something like that in the actual game? They'd love to have something that shows off who they are in game.
I love it. I love
Yep.
it.
Yeah,
Um,
we we've been thinking about that. We talked about this a little bit at the Los Angeles founders event as well, because that question came up, a similar question came up, and I, as a game designer, but also just as a player, like a video game player, I've always loved uh, things that can show off, that players can show off cosmetically, right? Exclusive stuff, things that are hard to get, so that you could peacock, right? We call it peacocking. You could show something off, and that is something that we love. And our variants are very important to us. They're the most important fans we have in the world right now. And so for us, we would love to find ways that when you see a variant in Dead Drop, you're like, whoa, what is that? I've never seen that before, because it's a very tight and exclusive group. I mean, the majority of players, they're claws, like Rob talked about. They're not going to have the visor cortex. And so for us, we really want to get and find a way to have your visor cortex represented in game. Like, that is a big desire that I have on the creative direction side, is how do we have that represented in game for the people that have been there from day zero, our day zero community. And that's to us is super important to try to find and get that in there.
Yeah, because that is going to be cool. Like right now, you look around our Discord and you see a lot of variants, right? Obviously, because we're in an echo chamber right now. But when we launch right to the public, and there are 30 million active users in the game, right? And you think of like how few variants there will be, right? Like that's going to be exciting, because it will have that moment that Quinn's talking about where you stop in your tracks when you see a variant compared to everybody else in the game,
Yeah, and then if we have proximity chat, right? It's like someone's like, "Whoa, what is that?" And then they come up to you, and you've been in games where this happens before. Someone comes up to you and they're looking at you, and they're like checking you out. You're like, "Yeah, man, what's up?"
Yes. So no, you guys can't see this, but Quinn just looked up and down in his camera.
Oh yeah.
They'll see it on YouTube.
Yeah,
check it on the YouTube.
It'll be there. Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. So let's pivot to the tower. We just put out a blog today going over, terms of existence and words that people should know as they relate to Dead Drop, as they relate to Midnight Society, what even is the existence, right? So yeah, do you guys want to just briefly talk about maybe the vision of the existence?
Yeah, sure. Rob, you want to cover that? Because I mean, there's lots of terms in here. I think we can go over a lot of stuff, but I mean, the existence, I think that is something that we talked about and came up with. But I think a lot of it, I mean, Rob, you were there from like the very beginning on those thoughts, the terminology and everything. And I think it'd be really cool for the people here to hear of what your thoughts are going into that.
Yeah, so for me, the existence and how we describe it in the variant guide is that it is the totality of everything in Midnight Society, right? The existence is where Midnight Society exists, it's where Doc exists, it's where our variants exist, it's where all claws live. Everything that you experience here is the existence, right? So think of that as like our universe. Because just like with the variants and everything, we like to keep as much stuff in universe as possible, right? And then so when you look at like, all right, well, what is the existence? Like, what is inside of that, right? It's all the people, and that those people are broken down into just normal citizens of the city that surrounds the refiner state. It's the claws, which are the combatants that go and fight in these refiner states. It's the refiner state itself, which is that massive structure, right, that we call the tower sometimes for short. And so like all of this exists inside of one universe, and like we are not a deep story game, right? Like you're not going to drop into Dead Zone and watch a 10-minute cutscene about anything, most likely, right? But we do think that lore and narrative drive a lot of things. But we like to explain that in game through environmental storytelling and through, the cosmetics and looks of characters and the things you find and the things you can customize. And so I like to think of our game as like a deep lore, but not narrative driven experience, right? And so a lot of these sort of like touch on that stuff, because I think what's really compelling is once we all get in there as variants and members of this existence and start expanding it through the stories that we create together, right? The stories that come out through gameplay and emergent gameplay and the community, and the fact that, like, look at Space Bob, man. Space Bob exists purely because he was created from this community. And how that expands and grows in the world is going to be just exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
you
Space
go ahead.
There is a question actually about Space Bob. Is Space Bob made out of space dust?
Oh man, he's trying. He's trying.
Made out of something.
Yeah, the amount of space dust that dude consumes. He's got some kind of agenda.
Something going on there. Okay. All right. Well, as it relates to the tower, the existence, refiner states, all that stuff. Is there going to be different types of biomes?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let you take this, Quinn.
Okay.
Talking about the sectors.
Yeah. So I mean, for us, biomes and things like that, like we call them sectors because, again, as Rob said, like everything we try to keep in universe, we try to build a deep lore, and even that's why, even at Midnight Society, we consider ourselves part of the existence. We've got our own.
Whoa!
I think we lost Quinn. I'll take it over. I'll try to leave exactly where he left off. We have our own visor cortexes. We are variants in this side of the existence alongside everybody else, right? And people who were here on December 14th when we announced, you saw that, we had our own characters that were not variants before we announced variants, and then we all switched over to our variant design. That sort of continues into the tower, right? Because these refiner states are built out of sectors, right? So these are again, man, every time I talk about this tower, the refiner states are like hundreds of floors, right? And those floors, collections of floors, are made out of sectors. Now, each of these sectors, if you went through the ARG, if you're an early member of the community, you sort of got a taste of this. But each of these sectors are sort of themed, right? So biomes is a nice way to think about it because some of them are extreme, right? We have exterior ones that are, on the outside of the tower but connected to the tower. So you go out there and you have terrain and hills and lakes and trees and long sight lines. And then a lot of the sectors are inside the tower. And like each of these, even the ones inside, could be like, some are spacious and have very long sight lines, right? And are open areas, but they're still themed around a specific type of environment, right? Maybe it's cold storage, or maybe it's the shopping centers within the refiner states, or maybe it's the industrial area of the refiner states where they're actually refining this dust, right? And exporting it out. It's the shipping department. So each of these will have themes and styles, which translate not just to the visuals of the sector, but it also impacts the gameplay of the sector, right? Some of those are tighter spaces, more CQB. Some of those are sniper alleys with really long sight lines and limited cover. Some of those have environmental hazards, right? Think about cold storage. If that sort of temperature regulator goes down, maybe everybody in that sector is at risk. Another component of these sectors that ties into their theme or their biome is the fact that they will shut down during the course of a session, right? So this entire refiner state is not active for the entire session. So over time, sectors will shut down. And what this does is it forces players to move around the tower. Because I think a common misconception about the verticality of this game is that it's a fight to the top. But it is not, right? Players are moving up and down and around and across this tower throughout the entire section. And now what happens is, like, as these sectors shut down, players are forced to move, right? And they're pushed closer together, and it sort of controls the flow of a match in certain ways. And so if you're going to extract out of this tower and you want to extract, you have the ability or the gear required or whatever you need to do to extract out of a specific sector, you want to make sure you do that before that sector shuts down. Otherwise, you either have to find another extraction point or you're stuck surviving the tower, right? If you want to fight it out. And how this is the last point, how those sectors shut down is deeply tied to their theme, right? So for example, the cold storage, maybe that temperature regulator goes out and people freeze to death if they don't get in the tower. Maybe, the other area floods, the other area releases some sort of AI component that hunts down players. There's a lot of things that we can play with as a community. We're designing these sectors. Now, how we're going to introduce these to the players is we're probably going to be introducing sectors or a few sectors at a time in snapshots, right? Probably in the white box phase, so that we can focus on player flow and cover points and the really tangible stuff that matters to gameplay, right? And then once we sort of nail that down and we're all happy with it, then we start doing art passes. But that whole time that we're playtesting it together, right? All the variants are playtesting it and getting the feel for the balance of the gameplay. That's our time to talk about the visuals of it. Like, oh, this feels really cool. Like if it would be this, or if we had this, right? And then that feeds into all the conversations the artists are having. And then over time, we start layering on the visual passes to these sectors. And then by the time we're done, that tower is made up of a diverse, collection of environments, both in theme and visuals and threats. That was a long answer.
Yeah, no, but that's good. It's really in depth because we with the blog today, we just put out this concept art piece too of the tower, and people have seen little I can't say snapshot. We'll say little screenshots or like snippets of the tower here and there, and I think it is really important to touch on. So yeah, thanks for going in depth on that. I also learned some things today. Okay, so you touched on gameplay. While we're on that topic, Fatality has an interesting question here too. They love gameplay, but at the end of the day, they're looking for quests, tasks, missions, something, right? Some sort of objective to add to the gameplay whereby you can unlock cosmetics or in-game items. Do we have any plans to do that?
Yes, we do. So there are NPCs in this world, in this tower, outside of the tower, right? So there is a concept that we want to do that is like, we understand that, and what we like about the extraction shooter side of this genre of VES and the subgenre in general is that not every player is going into that tower to be the highest kill rate, right? That is one of the appeals to me, is like, some players are going in there to dominate, right? Some players are going in there, they're going to get a lot of kills, they're going to get a lot of loot, and they're leaving like fat cats, right? They're heading out and they've got all this really good stuff, and that's what they are there for. Other players are going in, they're taking it slow. They want to get maybe one good kill, get some good stuff, extract out, sort through that stuff, sell the stuff they don't want, modify their weapons with the stuff they do want, and then head back into the tower, right? Other people are like, yo, it's 3 a.m. I don't have that high speed, low drag mentality right now. My reaction speed's down. Or maybe just in general, they're not that high slaying player count person, right? They want to drop in the tower and they want to do quests. They want to take a contract before they go into the tower that's like, hey, find this, do this, unlock this door, activate this, right? Cause the shutdown of Sector 5, right? Like, there's all these things that we can do there, and we look at those as contracts that you get from NPCs outside the tower, because narratively, you got to think claws are heading into the refiner state to fight, right? But they're all going in with different objectives. Some are trying to stay till the end, some are trying to do something specific and extract out. And there's that ebb and flow and join in progress and like in and out sort of gameplay is really what gets the dynamic life to a session that is very different from old arena shooters. And so like contracts, quests, tasks, challenges to unlock cosmetics, like, you know, your camos on your weapon and all of that. That is a key driver to a lot of the gameplay. It's not just about getting kills. Now, in the course of doing those things, you're probably going to get kills. But it is not always the core goal of every single player in the tower.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah.
Welcome back,
Okay.
Quinn.
Well,
Thanks.
yeah, glad to have you back. Had some technical difficulty.
Great time to happen.
God,
Yeah.
can we get a graphic of a variant like sweeping the floor for when this hits YouTube?
Different type of cleaner, right? Not the not the ones in the tower.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what video editing's for. Cool. So, Quinn, I don't know what you missed if you were listening or we just couldn't hear you, but
Oh no, I was out. I was totally gone.
you took a nap. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you know you were out, or were you still pitching?
I know. I heard you say, "Oh, we lost Quinn." I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm right here." And then everything just like powered down. So
Womp
yeah,
womp.
good
All right.
times.
Next question. Don't worry, I killed that answer.
I know you did.
I knew exactly what you were going to say. I was
Yeah,
mind melded with you.
you got it, man. You covered sectors, no problem.
Yeah, easy peasy. All right, cool. So, yeah, let's talk about these roundtable discussions, right? How we're going to integrate community feedback, help people feel heard, and not just like feel heard, but actually like hear them, right? So this question comes, is there a way that we might be able to have more discussions and put them in public settings or places where they are, you know, open for everyone to see? They're not just feedback forms that we're looking at internally, so that people can track what kind of feedback has already been submitted, so that they can track conversations. Do you guys want to talk about that? I mean, people have thrown out, like in this question, right, a forum or a Google Doc. But do we have a way to do that? And if so, what is it?
Yes. So that is going to evolve and grow over time, right? Like right now with the snapshot and the limited things to get feedback on, that is a form, right? That asks specific questions and then also discussions like happening in the Discord, right? Which is sort of our forum. And we are actively listening and looking at all that. And like, you'll already see that like a lot of the stuff people have said, or a few key things that people have said since Snapshot 1 is already in the build from the hotfix that we're dropping today, right? FOV sliders. We heard that people wanted to switch, like right now for accessibility reasons, ADS, sprint, crouch is a toggle, right? So you only have to hit it once and you say ADS or you say crouch or you say sprinting. That is for players with movement function issues. It helps those out. But we instantly heard from people of like, oh man, I understand why it's in there as default, but I'd really like the option to switch it so that I can just hold ADS. And then as soon as I let go, I'm not ADS anymore. Same for sprint and crouch and whatever. So we've added that feature in via hotfix today. I don't know if it's out yet, but it's dropping soon. As well as like fixing some of the core bugs that people reported as soon as Snapshot dropped, right? So those methods are helpful. But soon, especially once we introduce PvP gameplay, there's going to be a lot more stuff for people to give like very subjective opinion-based feedback on, right? Player movement speed is one of those things. Gunplay is one of those. Like the balancing of height advantage, right? Especially once we get into a vertical play space and people are shooting down and up on each other and all that stuff. So we are looking at the best way to do that stuff. How we do it internally is through playtest, right? We playtest together as a group. We're all in there. We're all on voice comms. We're talking stuff. We have a wonderful producer who's like taking notes and making sure that we have actionable items for us to make tasks out of, but also discuss after the playtest to be like, oh, we've said a few things during this playtest, like, some of it's contradicting. Where do we want to go with it, right? That's where we look to Quinn to sort of make a call. What I think we need to figure out is the best way to do that with the 10,000 variants, right? And it's probably like stages of like doing playtests together, listening to feedback, right? Because the feedback you give when you're actively playing a thing and getting fucked up, like when you're getting shot at and you're like, oh man, this sucks for this reason, is very different than when you're sitting down calmly filling out a form.
Totally.
And so those emotional discussions are important. The second thing we're working on right now is tools and where do they live, right? Because we're looking at everything, right? And one of the things we're looking at is the numbers of like how many people are actually providing feedback on these things, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are playing, but they may feel like, oh, somebody else probably already said this thing that I'm thinking, so I'm not even going to say it, right? We want to make sure that we have very easy, low barrier ways for you to communicate what you're feeling and not worrying about if other people are saying it, right? And so being able to display what everybody else is saying is helpful for that, because then you can literally see like, oh yeah, somebody's talking about this, so let me upvote it and support that thing that I already think. And so what we're looking at now is what is the best way to display that and where is the best place to collect that. One of the places we'll always collect feedback is in your variant profile, but we are also looking to add in areas in the build itself where you can see the key things that are added and what we're talking about and have links to where you can do this stuff. So right now I can tell you that's what we're working on, is like in build, in game areas for you to see what's being talked about and do things and link off to, as well as building tools to sort of facilitate that both in the community and out. But I think in the future, we should expect public playtests together, discussions during those playtests where we capture stuff from a production standpoint that are actionable and we can create actual tasks out of, because that's I want to align as closely to the actual game development process as possible, right? We just need to do it at a larger scale. And how we do it in game development is we play and we talk and we take notes, and then we take a break and we review those notes and we discuss those notes, and then we create tasks from those notes, right? And so it goes from being a very fun experience to a very serious work-based experience. And so we want to find a way to make sure you guys are involved in that fun stuff so that we can then take those discussions and distill them into the work stuff, which is tasks and iterations, and then push those into hot fixes and snapshots. So we're working on it. So all these suggestions that people are saying are like, oh, we should have a forum, we should have this. Very helpful, because it helps us sort of make those decisions of like, all right, this is where they want to have those conversations and how they want to have those conversations. Our job is to just build it. So yes, It is coming, and that will probably grow over time, right? We started with surveys, and then we'll probably introduce playtests, and then we'll introduce, the in-build functionality. So as each snapshot, just like the features of the game, this community inflow and digestion and parsing of data will also grow.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, to your point of upvoting, the way that, we're sourcing questions even for this AMA is like really easy, right? We're in Discord, people are throwing out comments, and then based on the upvotes, we can kind of see, how popular certain questions are.
Yeah, that's a really good point. This is a really good, if we did our playtest this way, right? Where we're playtesting and people are saying things in chat, and then people are actively upvoting them as we're playtesting, that will help us prioritize what we need to talk about after the playtest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I also sympathize with people that maybe don't, it's not part of their personality. They don't really want to type out, a lot of words, or oh, did we lose Quinn again? Okay, now
nope, he's back.
All right. Just a simple, right? Click the emoji, whatever, upvote your thing. That's a good way to do it. Okay, cool. So on to the next part of the feedback loop. People are wondering, are founders going to have the ability, or are we going to be asking questions about lore? Do we want the community to have a say in the direction that the lore goes, or vote on certain things? And the second part of this question is, and this is from Psychotic Music, would love a guild that helps develop storylines or world building. So is that an option?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, right? There's a caveat there. Just like with all the gameplay balancing and features and mechanics and stuff that we're going to be discussing, lore is one of those, right? And the caveat is, like I said earlier, we're not a story game, right? Like, we're not going to have long cuts actually, produce this thing. It's where the synthetics made, right? The synthetic humans that represent the Sins faction. Like, there is lore to be had. And so having the community's input on that stuff, definitely, right? Especially once we get further in development and we're starting to introduce, we're not a hero-based shooter, so we don't have like characters like Apex has characters, because our players are default, and then they build out what they look like and all that based on the customization options. And so you are your character, right? But sort of like as we introduce, and I'm talking far in the future, right? As we start introducing seasonal events and all that stuff, sort of having the community input and driving that is going to be key. I'll tell you, a lot of that stuff's going to happen naturally as we're all playing this game and talking about it and getting it, right? Just like Space Bob's, good stuff bubbles to the top, right? As it becomes discussion worthy within the community. So yeah, the short answer is yes. But how deep we go in the narrative thing is going to be interesting to find out. Unless we get 6 months down the road and we find out that everybody in this community really wants a narrative aspect of this game, then maybe that changes entirely. Right now, I'm like, gameplay.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. But yeah, it's a good point, right? Like, in theory, nothing is off limits.
Yeah, but I would be amazed if we get down the road and people are demanding cutscenes. I'd be like, what? I did not see this coming.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to, since you mentioned 6 months down the road, kind of sets us up perfectly for this question. Biggest question on most people's minds, maybe debatable, but how long do you anticipate development taking for this game? 1 year, 2 years, ballpark, as long as it takes?
Yeah, the real answer is as long as it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are deliberately not setting a release date for this game. We have deliberately not, we don't have a publisher for this because we don't want like publisher milestones that have a very set release date where we have to adjust, everything in our development cycle to accommodate those milestone dates, right? Like, what we have done is we've set a promise with our community of like, hey, we're going to be developing snapshots every 6 weeks, right? But we have the flexibility to decide when something's done or not done. And if something's at a state that it's at a point that could get feedback from people, we can put it into a snapshot. If it's not, then we'll push it to the next snapshot and other stuff will go in that snapshot. We have that freedom and flexibility, right? And so what I've been telling everybody and any investor who's talked to us or any of that stuff is this game is going to be done when the community decides it's done. Because the entire reason we built this company and this development model is because we are sick as developers and players of shipping games that we feel are not finished. Right? And like, yeah, it eventually get finished over post-release updates and stuff, but those release dates have always been driven from a business marketing standpoint, not from a development standpoint. And that's not how we're building this game. That's not how we're building this company. And not everybody can do that. I understand that, right? I'm not trying to fault developers who are sort of stuck in that model, but we built this company from the ground up to not be stuck in that model. And so I don't want to betray ourselves by setting a release date now, right? And so, but if you ask me my gut feeling, 19 months.
Oh my gosh. Get out of here.
Dude.
Listen, if you ask me personally, I think in 19 months, we're going to be at a point that we all as a community are going to be like, oh, I feel like we should let more people in. Like, let the public in, right? But what I'm not saying is I'm not going to set a release date for 19 months that we're all like crunching to meet, right? And I don't want the community to set a release date. None of us should be rushing this process. Not us, the developers, not our players, not our variants. Let's take it as fast as it needs to go. Because if we get into, like, for example, when we introduce PvP gameplay, if we want to get super granular in the weeds on that and spend a lot of time figuring out that first iteration of it, then that's what we should do, right? Like, I don't want us to feel forced of like, oh, like, we got to push forward, guys. We got a schedule to keep, all of that stuff. As long as we're making meaningful progress every 6 weeks, then we're doing our jobs as a community, right? I don't want to get hung up on this, like, oh, we got to be out by this date. We got to be out by this date. But I do think it's reasonable for us all to collectively be thinking about when is the public going to be coming in, right? When are we going to get that big influx of millions of players? Because that's going to change a lot of stuff, right? Because even decisions we make as a community are going to change the moment we have 1 million people in who are not part of this community from day one, right? Because that's when you start getting in the cheaters and the exploiters and the boosters and the people who do not only have their self-interest in mind, right? And then are balancing and decision-making and cheat solutions, anti-cheat is going to take higher priority at those moments than it did during development when we're all like copacetic and having fun together and not trying to grief each other, right? And so like that's going to be an interesting thing to plan for once we get there as a community.
Yeah, cool. Right on. Oh, okay. So this is actually, I really want us to talk about this because I've been in the Discord. I've seen there's definitely founders from all over the world. And, you know, for some of them, attending some of these events are also not super feasible. Do we have any plans to do a founders or dead drop event in another part of the world outside of the US?
Yeah, we're definitely thinking of that. Absolutely. It's not just we're not just trying to be everything in, you know, in Los Angeles or you name it, city in the United States. We're looking at other places as well. So we're having internal discussions about it and conversations, things that we're excited about. And then when it comes closer to things getting a little bit more set in stone, yeah, we'll reveal those locations as they come up. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the short answer.
Yeah, cool. Right on. And then timeline wise, to be, you know, in the vein of inclusivity, right? Console players are obviously really curious to know when they can get in on these snapshots. And that's not to say, when I say that, I think what we're really talking about is like controller support too, right? Like, so are people going to be able to play the snapshots with a controller?
Yes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah. So today a hot fix drops and makes sure the entire snapshot is playable with a controller. The exception being the UI menus, right? Our goal for Snapshot 2 is to have full controller support. So the second snapshot, we want to be fully playable, both the gameplay and the UI with a controller, which that would classify as full controller support. Now, in terms of console builds, that is out of our hands to a certain extent, right? And I've talked about this on Twitter and in the community a little bit, but consoles are going to come online as soon as we can get certification through the platforms. Now, you got to understand, we are sharing the earliest builds, and consoles, because they're a platform, a closed system, they have very strict certification process. You have to go through a lot of things that we aren't thinking about right now because we're focused on core gameplay mechanics. Like, what happens if you plug in 2 controllers and one is Bluetooth and one's not, and you pull the controller, 5 minutes after playing the game? And what happens if the player turns on the build and leaves it running for 24 hours and never shuts down the console? And like, there's all these stress tests that you have to do and things that you have to account for when you go to consoles that we don't have to worry about on PC and we're not even thinking about. So it is generally very hard to get early builds playable, not we could get it playable today on consoles, but to get it approved through certification, right? So that's sort of the realistic what we're up against on platforms, and it's no fault to the platforms. Like, they need to make sure that their platform is stable. It's not the Wild West of PC where, you know, we're okay downloading super early stuff that might crash all the time because it's in development. We understand that, right? Consoles do not work that way. And so what we are doing to make sure that we can release on console as fast as possible is we are make sure that we are developing with consoles in mind all the time, from a optimization standpoint, from a controller support standpoint. We always have that in the back of our mind, and we are open to look at whatever solution we have to do to get it out as fast as possible, right? If that means, like, you know, because we are technically a new studio, which means not only do we have to get the build to a point that it can pass certification, but we also have to get to the studio to a point that it can pass registration stuff, right? Because, you know, certain platforms have different requirements on who can publish to the platform, right? So we have to end up, for the console ports, working with somebody who's already a well-established PlayStation or Xbox developer publisher just for the console versions. We'll look into that if that's what helps our console players faster. But the thing is, the conversations, we're having them, we're pushing through them as fast as legal and business allows. But meanwhile, we don't want that to hold up our PC development. So we are not going to delay anything on the PC front just because console things take time.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, totally makes sense. Cool. And then also in terms of more inclusivity, Quinn's like, what are you gonna say? No, are there discussions about founders potentially becoming employees of Midnight Society in the future?
Yeah,
Already
it's already
happened.
happening. Yeah, Jinx.
Ah!
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
we've got people, right? You want to
yes.
call them out, give them some dap?
Yes, Steve Rand came from the community.
Yep.
We've had several people we met at the founders event in LA who were like, "Hey, I do this, and I would love to do it for Midnight Society." And like literally, as soon as we got back, we're like, "All right, let's start that conversation." Who are
Yep.
currently going through the interview process. So like, yes, if you've got like a skill and an expertise, and we have that need, and right now we have a lot of needs, especially on the animation front. Then start the conversation with us. You know, apply. Our process is, you know, it could take some time. We have a very, you know, big vetting process. But it's already happened. There's others interviewing now. I'm sure it's going to happen in the future, because the thing is, what's different about our approach is, like, we specifically wanted a lot of variants who have game development experience or creative experience, right? So like those who filled out the application process to become a variant, remember, like, the first question was getting to the heart of who you are. Are you just a player who's here to have fun? Great, that's fine. We need you. Are you a hardcore player who's here to seriously have fun? Great, we need you too. Are you a indie developer? You're a AAA developer? You're esports athletes? All of that, right? So our community is actually made up of all of that. A lot of people who work in the industry in many capacities. And so I would not be surprised if even more end up joining us as official Midnight Society employees in the future.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, like you said, already happened. Gonna happen more. Awesome.
Yeah, I love it when I see applications or people reach out to me about opportunities and they open up with their variant call sign. They're like, "Yo, I'm this Bravo Tango 2, and I'm interested in this position." I'm like, "All right, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Tell me more."
Right on. Yeah. Cool. So we are just about to wrap up. There is one question, actually for me in here. How
Oh,
does
nice.
yeah, spicy. No, I'm just kidding. It's a great question actually. So I'll take this last one. How does the marketing team plan to address gamers that may argue that there will be slash is too much gameplay being shown before actual release of the full game? And Rob, you can also back me up on this. Like, we're along for the ride. This is never been done before, the way that we're doing things, right? The way that we're bringing the community in, really encouraging founders and variants, right? One and the same, to post their own content and to share what we're sharing with you guys. So, yeah, we love it. We want you to show gameplay. We want you to share the snapshots.
Yes, 100%. And like that was like, you know, the biggest, I think, whiplash for traditional game journalists after the LA event and the first snapshot, right? Is like PC Gamer and Forbes, and a lot of them literally did not know how to digest and talk about this snapshot because they're like, people don't show games this early. They're like, there's no animations, there's none of this. And it's like, yeah, we don't have an animator yet. The game's not finished. The entire point of this process is to put out the reel so that we can have real conversations about it at a moment that it is actionable and we can do something about it. We're not trying to sell games right now, right? You can't pre-order the game. You can't buy a copy of it. You can't spend money in the game. Like, so this isn't marketing in that sense. There's no return on investment on us getting out gameplay, right? Because normally teams wait years and they put together $1 million trailer that has no bugs in it, no visual issues, right? It's perfectly edited over months of time, and they put it out because they're trying to sell pre-orders. That is not what we're doing. We are putting it out at the earliest possible state, before animations are done, before all the visuals are polished to 100%, before everything. And that's going to be even more apparent in the second snapshot. Because in the second snapshot, we're talking about core gameplay. We don't want you distracted by the visuals.
Right.
We don't want anybody, even the players, right? Because we're talking about player flow and balancing and level design and all kinds of things that do not require visuals to sort of have discussions around. And I'm even more interested to see what the press does with that, because it's like, this is a new way of doing it. It's super early and it's super hands-on, right? And that's the big difference between traditional community management, right? And I have a lot of experience in community management with big shooter franchises. And that was all about just, you know, it was all about building hype, again, to convert players to purchasers, right? And to make sure that that retention stayed around. But what we are trying to do is we're trying to build games openly and together, and it's not about converting, right? It's not about monetization and retention. It's about quality and diversity of opinion, right? To build games in a way that haven't been done with voices that haven't been part of the process before. And that's why at the event, we said it, right? We don't care about press right now. That is why if you look at the people who came to the LA event, it was players. It's 100% players of all different backgrounds. We weren't doing exclusive press interviews. Like, we spent all night, every member of the team, standing around having one-on-one conversations with players, not doing interviews with press, because we're not at that stage yet. We're not here to sell anybody. We're here to talk about gameplay.
Yeah, and that's why we call them snapshots too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
instead of like your traditional, oh, there's the alpha, pre-alpha, beta, all those things. I mean, those are even just marketing terms too. Like, they're not necessarily betas. I mean, that's why these are called snapshots. They are the snapshot or a snippet portion of the project that we are making, formerly Project Moon, now Dead Drop, and everyone is along for the ride. And we're building upon it. So we got snapshot 1 out, and we're building upon it from here on out. And then you'll have snapshot 2 and snapshot 3. And each snapshot will get bigger and add or two. And that is the road that we're on. And that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks for joining, guys. For everyone that tuned in, thank you for joining. Founders, non-founders alike. This has been super exciting. I'm really happy that we got through as many questions as we did in our just over an hour. If you guys missed the beginning of this or any part of this, we will be uploading this to our YouTube channel. And yeah, everyone have a great day. Keep playing the snapshots, and we'll see you around.
Right.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. The AMA is concluded. And I will say they touched on some really good topics, and I'm really going to be excited to go back and rewatch this again to memorize everything, get all the juicy stuff. And also, I still have a lot more to talk about in future podcasts that will be coming up on the channel hopefully soon. I won't be doing much uploading, sadly, because I do not have my editing software program at the moment. It currently has been canceled. I will be thinking on where to go from after I find a new solution for that problem. And I was talking earlier in the beginning of this section of the stream, but as usual, some Alex issues have popped. And I got that taken care of relatively quickly, thankfully, after realizing I was talking to myself for a while, as I usually do. But yeah, let's see if we can get into that general and see how crazy things are getting real quick before I pop this off and send it home.
I'm sure we'll be probably later. Probably maybe later. Snapshot.
New snapshot's already uploaded. For those of you who didn't see it.
Ooh, they are,
Playing
sir.
it right now. Oh, the no toggle on the ADS is gold.
Is it?
I'm so happy. Oh,
How's
it's so nice.
How was your bacon, Lolo?
Stream it.
I was making bacon because I'm gonna make crack chicken dip.
Crack chicken dip?
Oh yeah, have you ever heard of that?
That's
It's like this. Yeah, it's like this bacon ranch chicken cream cheese stuff. Yeah.
Damn.
Anyways, enough about Lolo. We can go back to the game.
The file name is the same.
Same data.
It's already, the build itself is updated.
Oh, so I don't have to download again?
No, you do have to download again.
Word. All right.
But just preserve the old one with like a different name or something, like V1 or something.
Yep. Yeah.
What?
Hey, quick question. Do I have to delete the old shit or uninstall it?
For those sentimental people.
Install.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sentimental people.
I think I got an idea for name. I'll just copy deaddrop CL1859 and pop that bitch right there for the new one.
What?
It's right on the
just print out all the files from the first snapshot and just get them framed.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna hash them all and just get the hashes printed out. That's exactly.
How do
what
we
I would
feel
do.
about that AMA?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That was much better than the first
nice
one
mahogany
because we can
frame.
actually like have something to talk about, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be better. Whole thing.
There was a lot of good.
Obviously, they're recording video. I get we could gather that a little into the AMA.
Where's the video?
I think.
Look at where I'm going to put my
YouTube at some
tattoo. Oh,
point.
you guys can't see that, but
Yeah, when Rob,
be able
Yeah,
to
when
later.
Rob was talking about his tattoo, I was like,
as soon as he said that, I'm like, "Where's the video? Am I in the right one?"
Yeah.
I started going on YouTube. I'm looking, looking around.
yeah,
Look
it'll be on their
X mod
YouTube.
for a second.
I don't think I'd have to
Talk
say
about
it.
you.
But just letting you know, it probably won't take 2 months this time.
I was just gonna say that.
Figured I should at least say that for them, but I mean, I don't know.
Two months for the what?
It's not my
2 to 1 day
The
tops.
first AMA video to come out.
Oh.
It took forever.
The first one did, yeah.
Well, I
had
mean,
it
they
up there
did a
in
good
24
job
hours.
on the editing for it, though. I think they wanted to make it look nice.
They did for sure. It was just funny
So-
because they were like, "It's coming, it's coming, don't you worry."
Yeah, but that didn't take 2 months.
Yeah, that wasn't 2 months work right there.
It's coming though.
Yeah. You're saying that? You're
What
saying
about-
that they were editing the AMA?
No, I'm saying that the AMA was recorded with video as well, but it'll be for the YouTube, not for the actual
Oh, okay.
AMA.
Got you. Recorded. Got you.
Which they could do both. I
Good.
don't know. They didn't for whatever reason.
I feel like that AMA
Probably
was
get
fuckers,
better
man.
streaming quality.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That
So
AMA
what
was
exactly is
fuckers
new
with
that we're going to
information.
be getting? Because I missed most of it, unfortunately.
All
what was it? No toggle for aim down sights now.
Yeah, I mean the build update was announced by Alex in the variant channel itself.
Was it FOV slot or something?
But like with regards to the
FOV.
AMA itself, there's quite a bit of information in terms of direction.
Okay.
Plus, they've decreased the FOV.
Is it a firing range again, or
It's the exact same thing, just settings updated.
Oh,
and they fixed a couple of bugs as well.
When did he say the hotfix was going to be?
It's already live.
There? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Awesome, BJ.
Same file name.
4 gigabytes of memory. No.
Just fucking get it.
I think they said they have a wish to get some multiplayer in the next snapshot, but there's no guarantee.
Well, they're doing controller as well, right?
Well, controller's still not officially supported yet. You still have to do some menu stuff with your mouse, but they're working towards it. And what they said in the AMA is that they allude to what's going to be in the next snapshot, usually at the end of the variant guide that comes out with it. And this particular variant guide has like some artwork of 2 different visor cortexes at the end, alluding to like the future of having multiplayer soon. So like every snapshot that comes out, it's going to have its own variant database updated.
Oh yeah, I'm 5 minutes out.
That's what Rob was talking about in that clip where you see him talking about it. Eventually we're going to have a book, a big book.
Oh yeah.
That's what he means.
Oh yeah.
Fat book.
Each snapshot will have more concept art and whatnot.
A nice thick reading.
Hey, general question for all you guys. Did you guys all do your feedback?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
I tried to keep it as brief as possible and stick
Not
to
really.
what I
It was
really
first and last, actually.
I am curious about people automatically, they play it, get an hour in, they do their feedback. What happens if they play it, 3, 4, 10, 12, 15 hours later, and they're like, maybe I want to change my feedback. Is that possible currently?
I thought we could.
I think that every time that
I
you
haven't
add
tried
to
it.
that
I just was
document-
wondering.
Every time
I
you
haven't
add
tried
to
it.
that
I'm just curious.
document, it'll add a new, like, fresh set of, like, reflection. It's not individualized yet.
It looks like you can click on it again, so perhaps you might be able to do it that way.
Yeah, I was more curious just because I wouldn't want it to be doubled because my first, my review of this snapshot hasn't changed. I'm just, future proofing it in my mind. Is that I wouldn't want my initial reaction to overwrite my, my later reaction.
I don't believe that it does that. If it did, when you go to add your feedback, it would have your previous stuff in the field still.
Gotcha.
So other than the EMAs, where have you guys been shooting your questions to Rob or whoever?
Public AMA channel.
Yeah, they had an AMA channel where everybody submitted questions. Outside of the AMA, it's just general asking in the Discord, seeing if sentries don't know, they'll inquire. Like specifically, I noticed they didn't get to Hugo's question about the merchandise for people who are international. So that's something the sentries can follow up for them.
Oh, I missed the first 30
will.
minutes. What did he mention regarding merchandising?
They didn't mention anything in the AMA about it. It was a question on the form, though, that a lot of us sentries have gotten. So we'll probably follow up and get an answer to you guys.
Getting a lot of FOMO from the recent Twitter posts, too, from people who weren't in LA either.
The recent...
Yeah, there's like Twitter posts of people getting fucking gear sent to them.
I think those were just the winners of the. A lot of those were also just the winners of the
Winners of what?
giveaway.
There was a
Giveaway? Don't you give away to the 580 first?
So hang on, there were some giveaways that were happening during the streaming of the event, and those giveaways included like the physical copy of the variant database that was signed by the developers, and they had a giveaway process that they told everybody here in the Discord. They didn't make an announcement, I don't think, on their Twitter about it. They just showed the results, so it doesn't.
No, it was all
look like that.
Discord.
You have to be in the Discord to find out.
Right. But that's why it looks one-sided like that.
Appreciate your artics.
And on the live YouTube that they were having.
The stream, yeah.
The countdown streams?
Yeah.
Yep.
Arctics, I got something for you that my buddy asked me a while back, and I'm pretty sure you can answer this for me, Lickety Split. I might already know the answer to the question, but I'd like to get a better, solid answer. He was wondering if I could, port over the build over to him if he doesn't have anything, and I know that's probably false.
I mean, it's not written anywhere, but it's generally anticipated that founders are supposed to be the only ones with access to the build.
Yeah.
That's why they're not made public. And you
also have to log in. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. That's another thing. Yeah.
In order to play the game. So.
What about your buddy going to your house and playing on
Oh
your
yeah,
computer?
I told him we pretty much said that pretty much like that. That's what, dude. Like right off of LA, once I got back from LA, I immediately took a shower, changed my clothes, brushed my teeth because fucking
You're not
that
a gamer. You're not a real gamer.
Dude, I fucking stank. Dude, I was stanky. And I had oh yeah. I was sweating out that weed from LA. But yeah, fucking went straight to my buddy's house, literally stripped my setup from my room and just threw it all in my car and was like, all right, we're playing the build. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing it over. He's like, all right, sweet. And I let him watch me play, and then I let him try it out. But they didn't end up trying it out yet. They want to wait until it's a little bit more built up to kind of get the full experience, which I kind of understand, but they're a little weird.
They go over what they define the snapshot as in the recent Twitter post, where they go over the different terms in universe terms and what they mean specifically by all that.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the development process. That's just insane, bro. We're in the very beginning of the thing.
Let's get this bitch.
Yeah, that was only 5 months in the first snapshot.
Yeah. So this is pretty unique stuff, man. You're gonna, once we all finish this together, we're gonna have that experience, what it feels like to be behind the scene where all the other developers don't do.
Well, I'm gonna pop the champagne bottle, brother. And you're gonna get wasted.
Wasted? Hell yeah. Did you digest Denny's?
Oh, dude, delicious. It was fucking delicious. I still can't get over how it's so weird how their chicken sandwich was actually on point with Buffalo, exactly how they would make it in Buffalo. It was just so weird.
Alex writes
Didn't
on here
butter and red hot together. Sorry, that Arctic.
Alex writes on here that the fixes for the snapshot that they picked the fixes from the channels in the Discord, so the bug reports channel and in the variant only chat. Somebody was asking about that specifically. You can do it with the bug reports channel. They're actively monitoring.
Not bad.
Maybe this is just me not being a pro at Discord, but where do I find the variant chat?
Well, they didn't fix my bunny op, so I'm happy.
You have to be a variant until you see it.
Oh, I am a variant.
So, you need to open up a ticket since you're not using Discord. You don't currently have a variant. On the very top of the channel list, there's something that says create a ticket. Make sure you create a ticket and let folks know.
Got it. Yeah, I've had Discord, I'm not that deep into it, so got it.
A lot of their initial community building, just overall interaction is going to be through Discord. Like they touch on it quite a bit, but they don't emphasize to that degree yet. But it's extremely important if you want to.
Have you seen? You guys, everyone's seen the variant guide, right? There's a little Easter egg where you see my name. I'm just gonna prop myself up and dust off my own shoulder here.
Not legit, yeah.
I'm very first watched user, you know.
Wouldn't that just be an Easter egg for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not an
It's
Easter
cool,
egg
though.
for me.
It's cool,
where's
though.
my mention
I can't get up.
Just
kidding.
If you guys were here, you know, January, you might see this, but
I was here. I mean, I was in the Discord. When the Discord launched, I was there first day.
You're not Sage of Zed, Vishiro Asana, DocFox TV.
Well, I didn't talk.
They only took a handful of the initial people.
I'm just joking, everybody. I'm just joking, everybody.
But that's part. What you're talking about is the ARG. I don't think everybody knows about that slide
Yeah.
from the ARG.
Yeah, I was right at the tail end of the ARG.
Where Space
there was
Bomb
like,
came from.
Goes
there was like
as Disney.
92, and there was like only that many slots left before I got involved.
Is there anybody who still doesn't know who Space is?
If you don't, you better learn now.
Well, the origin story is really funny. The origin story is funny. We were doing way too much.
Tell it to us. I heard the name. I don't know specifics though.
Post something on conspiracy about spacewalk.
Well, when we were doing the ARG, we were trying to find clues, and we were like literally digging into the source code of their website.
Yeah, man, we were
trying to
going
figure-
in, man.
Yeah, dude.
I
We
was
were
reading
like,
a book that had absolutely nothing to do with anything, but his name was Bob.
Well, we were like going through.
Shiro, I think was his name. They named him Space Bomb.
And then we, we were like double clicking on the website, looking for like maybe hidden buttons and stuff. And it turns out there was just this, when you double clicked, you get this little space of blue, just like the picture of the little fucking emote.
Which
And
is just how HTML is.
yeah. It's because they added an extra space. They just added an extra space on accident, and we were like, "What is this? What's supposed to be here?
What does it all mean?"
That's just how HTML is. But they didn't know that at first.
Ecstatic shadow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super funny. It was a great time. And 402 is like in the fucking chat's like, yeah, that's nothing. Just ignore that.
Ignore
They
that.
came up with Space Bomb. They were like, that's nothing. Don't worry.
Derex, I don't think you heard what you said. Mike stopped as soon as you said.
I didn't hear it.
It's okay.
No, I'm just letting you know.
What'd you say?
Look inside the ticket.
The fuck you said? What?
The fuck you say?
The fuck you say? The fuck is So I'm trying to type right now.
Yeah. It's okay. I'm waiting.
Well, the AMA was really like helpful and really cool.
What do you feel like you learned from the AMA, Rich?
A lot, bro. To be honest.
I'm at.
My questions were answered.
There's still a few questions that weren't answered, but I feel like they were not as important.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say every question's important. It's just it's what they answer first.
What did you ask
relevancy?
Too many. There's too many questions.
I asked two questions. One, which got actually uploaded like 5 times, was if there was just gonna only be one game. Yeah, that they didn't answer that. It's like that's the one I thought they would probably most likely answer. Other one,
I think that was in there like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and then other
Were
one
you-
was, what's the point of the hideout? Why not just have a menu?
Well, I could answer that one.
That's what I said.
That's what he said, and I deleted it. And he's like, "Why'd you delete it?" I was like, well, "Because she answered." He's like, "Well, you should still put it out there." I'm like, "Okay, I'll rewrite it."
Wait, you said that I would answer it?
No.
We were in voice.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "What?" I was like, "Do you want me to answer your question, Daph?" Put it in context. I just saw his question pop up. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
For
And then
those
I
of you
deleted it.
who
He's like,
don't
"Why'd
know,
you delete it?" I was like, "Because you said you were going to answer it." Like, why would I?
Like all these early areas in the snapshot are eventually going to be their lobby. Like that's where you're going to be at before you choose like the game that you play or the match that you start.
Like
It's
the
gonna
Second
be like
Frontier.
your landing grounds.
Oh yeah. Oh.
That's why there's the
So like an
player
interactive
hideout
menu.
and all that stuff. And the idea is eventually to build out the firing range to have like more in scenario, like to have it mimic the scenarios you have during the matches so you can practice, and then have like it report statistics.
Oh, and have your vault
Damn
with
it.
all your own skins and all.
He dropped your phone.
Oh, you got itchy ear, gray face?
Yes, sorry, man. Sorry. Fucking shit.
Was you itching your ear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a dog?
No.
Fucking cat, right?
Oh.
Or a dog,
I just-
rabbit.
I was fucking in a trance, bro. Sorry, I was
What's
trying
the
to.
first weapon? It's the X1, right?
Yeah. Well, it's classified.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the first weapon.
Yeah, they are such not good.
Yeah, it seems generic.
Well, I think it's also because it's the first thing. But...
Yeah.
Players who haven't
It's also understandable, but it's still like, you know, when the hash was like, well, it just seems kind of generic.
No. Finish eating whatever that is.
I mean, that's going to be a game I actually play on mouse and keyboard.
I'm absolutely like ecstatic to be like playing this game like on bare bones before like anything while being on PC.
Same 100%.
Because it like gives you that little advantage of being in the game, knowing the movement first, knowing how the game feels, knowing how your character will react to just bumping into objects, trying to traverse objects, you name it. Like, just the feel. Like, you have that advantage. You can't really take that away.
I'm curious if we'll be able to
Projection was
see.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like listening to Quinn react to that was pretty good.
I know.
It's like, oh,
He's
what?
just fucking cringing. Like,
What?
don't do it.
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't matter. Even so, he's like, I would want it to be out. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh, that's like, they said 19 months. You know what I mean?
Like, I shit a brick when I heard him say 19 months.
They should just redact it in the YouTube video when it comes out. Beep.
Probably
It
will.
should be out in beep.
March 2023? Is that what 19 months is?
Yeah, it's a little less than 2 years. So 2024.
Yeah, well, it's like,
Is that how that works?
it's a
that
year
how
and a
that
half
works?
plus a month.
Mouth.
Quick math. You know, I'm not very good. Oh, what's that? That's that video where they're talking about quick math? January. 1 + 1 is 2. Quick math.
2 + 2. Quick.
Man's not hot.
What's it? That actually was at January 23. Or 24, sorry.
I even had me double guessing my own math skills. I'm like, oh, I'm not that good, I know, but damn.
Check your math.
Yeah, non-existent math skills. I think I have. Hold on, let me scroll up in my little AMA
I think there was
here.
a
I
bunch
think I
of
have.
that were probably pretty good, but, you know, because they only had a limited time. It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool concept. I don't know if you guys saw it. I put it near the end. It was for adding a room where, like, a fighting area, like a 1v1 area.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That shit was, that was a good idea.
Yeah, I think that'll have to obviously get postponed until multiplayer's version.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect that to be something anytime soon, but I was just kind of thinking last night when I was putting together my feedback, and I was like, that would be pretty sick if they did something like that.
Hey, Arctics.
I think somebody posed that question.
I think I got an idea on what they might have planned for that helipad. You know how they you extract with a helicopter or anything else, but say you extract, you land in here, no cutscene, no nothing, it's flawless, and you come straight to the hideout, and there's no cutscene, no nothing, and you just land on the helipad and then walk right in. Maybe there's a little bit of a load delay or something like that, it's loading in, but I don't know how Unreal Engine 5 works, but fucking, I feel like Doc's going for the zero load screen type situation.
I guess you could do that with a short, landing animation of the helicopter.
Yeah.
It's let's be clear.
It'd be hard,
it's
but
not Doc, right? It's not Doc. It's Midnight Society.
I know that, but
and Unreal Engine 5 does texture streaming, so it wouldn't be a long thing. The texture stream as you move throughout the game.
And
I think one of the things
I said,
one of the questions I had was talking about how many, there's too many chefs in the kitchen. Essentially, there's 10,000 of us and 40 of them, if that. They're probably not even close to that yet, but who's the final decision maker? And then on top of that, there's got to be some sort of, veto power. How, and I hope they use it. Dear God, there'd be too many. The game would never finish. But my question is, I guess, what does that look like? That ending player, all the players are wanting
never
something.
Have the final say. Who's going to be the dev team?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the dev team. Just how many people probably put that the movement was too slow, and they're not. They don't want really fast movement, so it's kind of funny. I wonder
I'm really
what
happy about that.
Disparity is. You know what I mean? How many people said, "Hey, this is way too slow."
Right. That would be interesting to me to know, because I enjoy the movement speeds.
it's growing on me. I'm learning how to make it faster, and I'm loving it now at this this point.
The running just didn't seem right. It just kind of seemed like you're just kind of.
You gotta get it down. It's weird. So, hold up. Watch
And the
watch
jumping
this
was
shit.
really floaty.
Yeah, I feel you there. It's a little floaty. Check this shit. You probably already seen doing this stupid shit, but.
Frames.
Yeah, Discord doesn't like your frames.
Yeah, well, I'm streaming and playing on Unreal 5 at the same time, so.
Make sure you always stream at 720, 30.
Oh, I'm streaming at 720, yeah.
There's what snapshot do you think they're gonna have optimization going? Because
later, way later.
Oh yeah.
Because it seems like it's using a lot, but yeah.
Before
you
I'm gonna ask that,
sucks.
so I
Damn
brought that up a little bit earlier. Since Hugo's question didn't get answered, and the other subjects are in here.
Damn it.
Get asked all the time about that. So I'm trying to get some kind of definitive answer.
Did you guys have issues finding? Maybe I'm just dumb. Finding the targets up on top when you came up to that second.
Oh, the only ones that I had problems with were the corners. The corners, yeah. Like the ones that right up here.
The ones way up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting here looking around like, where the fuck is it?
It's like I hit the button and did not expect them to be up there. I was expecting them to be on the same level, so I ran around the entire place.
Oh,
yeah, I found those, and I couldn't find because it was the FOV that really screwed me. I was like, "Where the? Why is it still going? Shouldn't it be done? This is a mistake."
Like bullet,
I did try for 2 hours to get on the ground, and I couldn't. It was upsetting. I tried to glitch on the bottom of the map, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I've seen the people doing it. Yeah, there's that one dude that has 5 hours or something. He's
Oh yeah, Jake, he's fucking going in. I gotta beat that man. It's gonna be a hard beat. He's pulling in, and then Void, I think it is, if I'm saying that correct. I don't even. I'm fucking tired. I haven't been to bed. he's got some hella fucking timing.
Though there was that one screenshot of the guy getting over 100% accuracy. That was
Yeah, I would hope so.
Dude, that one with like 16K. I was like, wait, what?
Is this the patch? Is the patch out?
Yep.
Yes, the patch is out.
Oh hell yeah!
But yeah, dude, this side-to-side jumping, like, as soon as I learned I could do this, I started loving, like, the jump animation.
Oh yeah. Well, they changed the jump.
No, it's, well, I mean, like, it feels kind of the same, but I mean, like beforehand, I could do this.
No. You before you stayed on top a little bit high. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't.
I mean,
arced.
it kind of feels a little bit faster. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know they changed the jump, but it does
You should
like
time yourself.
does feel a lot fast.
Before you were up in the air like longer. Like it could be the same time, but like it's more of an arc.
I'd be curious if you're going faster doing the side-to-side jumping versus just running straight.
I'd say.
Oh, it looks so much better with the high FOV.
Because I'm really hoping that it's not like
I still hate how the gun moves.
Their
when you're
controller.
running.
Yeah, we
But I have
gotta
no
get
animations
there.
yet.
Yeah, we don't got it yet. Don't worry, we'll get it.
No, I know. I'm just saying it was like it's distracting. What do you think that's for? Parking?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna put my Puma in there.
Yeah. Or is it for payment?
Right now.
Yeah, why do you think there's a giant P there? I put it there for Puma.
Old Project 414. That's where I live.
Oh, that's your house?
Yeah, that's where I live.
Oh, I almost hit the rail. Damn it.
The desolate city that this is.
Damn it.
What did y'all pick
Docs.
for the next gun you want to see?
I put sniper.
I put sniper too.
I think
I really.
I put sniper.
Honestly,
Like anyone
I
that
wanted.
puts shotgun should be like.
I wanted pistol to be honest,
continue
but I was
from
like,
the very
Yeah. For
I
the
wanted pistol, but I was like, you know what? Give me a sniper first.
A sniper would be awesome on this.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
most games severely underestimate how much damage an actual shotgun would do to somebody, and so I hope that they balance shotguns into a more realistic.
Well, what did they say? Like TTK was gonna be pretty damn fast. So we're gonna definitely find out once they open PvP.
Wait, I joined late here. Did y'all say there was an update to the snapshot or an update to a different game?
There's a patch. So it's, it's a patch to the snapshot. Yeah.
You just have to download it again.
Okay.
It's not a patch. It's just a new build. The build that's available for download.
Are you sure? They called it a patch.
It's positive. You're re-downloading.
Oh, yeah. Well,
It's the same CL18.
okay. Well, it's the same thing, but they patched it. Okay. Instead of like it's a patch.
Hot fix.
It's just been patched. Hot fix. There we go. Yeah, they just called it a patch. That's why I said that.
Do you play a lot of mouse and keyboard here?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You
Every day.
Snap it on them heads, man. I couldn't do that in my wildest dreams. I was a controller frog.
Also, he used pads.
That's what I was just gonna say. Where's your fucking axe already?
What?
Oh wow, that's Amos this off. See the difference?
Yeah, you see the difference?
Yeah, he turned off the hacks, and he was like, "What? I'm not hacking.
I'm not hacking." Oh, dude, I did actually a pretty good flawless run on the fucking, what do you call it? Just the regular range. As soon as I booted it up now, like it was a pretty smooth one. Let me actually go back because I wanna hit the long again.
Are you guys using your aiming, or are you guys just hip firing when you're doing the first range?
I tried hip firing for a long time. It seems like it might be like the way to get a really good time on that for the first range, definitely. Just because of how close you can get, and I'll like stand up on top of it, and I'll fucking just like get really close so that I could see behind like the the little panel when before like the target comes out, I'll fucking see the side and I'll fucking pop. I still gotta work on that though. Fucking, because I'm trying to play on 400 DPI with 3.2. I wanna be able to.
Man, you're at 400 DPI. Holy crap!
Yeah. Oh wait, did I want to do
That's like
yeah,
pretty. That's pretty standard for Counter Strike Valorant players.
Oh Jesus! See, this is things I don't know because I'm a controller. You know, usually I'm a controller player.
A lot of people recommend like 400 or 800
Damn it.
DPI to when you're first using like converting the mouse. It's like 400 or 800, then 6 to 1, and just convert from there.
Yeah, because I think I was at 1200.
That's kind of like what League of Legends and Dota players, start off.
Man, I haven't played in like 3 days, so I'm forgetting about the fucking leading.
Yeah, the leading. I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Favorite parts of the gun.
That was an overflick if I've ever seen one.
And everybody's looked at Doc's penthouse.
The what now?
Doc's penthouse. You can see.
Oh, wait. Oh, you mean the symbol out in the left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left, yeah.
Alright. Let's try this one more time. Except this time, I'm gonna hit fire.
They were talking about taking a car and driving the car all the way over to
What?
Taking the car to drive over to the actual tower. Sounds so fucking dope.
When you have a helicopter pad, it makes sense.
Well, I think that's for the extraction. I mean, maybe, I guess you could take it over there as well. And I guess you could also land on the helicopter pad with the wingsuit extraction.
Pretty sure there's going to be multiple ways to extract.
Right.
Yeah.
That concept in the air.
Oh, yeah, bro. Oh, brother.
What's that?
Those iron sights.
Imagine you can run to the building or arrive in the building with a motorcycle. It's so dry.
It's like just and it throws you off because the muzzle flash doesn't seem to line up right, so it throws off your aiming. Oh, that was weird. That lightning should not be happening that way. That's crazy. The left buildings are lighting up.
Alright. Try it one more
It's
time.
wild how your left buildings are lighting up like that.
Hey, Sarah, I appreciate it. Looks like I'm set up now.
Yeah. Let's go.
I can't believe I've had that wrong this entire time. That's why you guys. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
Make sure now that you have that ecstatic that you go to the announcement roles channel and choose the type of announcements you want to be pinged for.
Okay, let me do that now.
So many people in here. I just came in here to see Lolo.
Well, there's a lot of people that.
Sorry guys, I missed everything. I was getting ready for going to a baseball game.
Not only do the bullets have the insignia on them, but if you look at the variant guidebook, the droplets of the rain have the insignia stamped in them as well if you look hard enough.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Yeah, that shit was sick.
I got the logo yet.
I did not see that.
Dude, I don't even think you understand how closely I was looking at that fucking thing when I was at LA. I was fucking like literally like 2 fingers fucking scanning at like 2 inches away from my face.
Look at the bullet casing reflection. You'll also see the logo.
No shit, really? Oh wait, no, I mean like I thought you meant like it's reflecting in it.
Yeah.
But no, I know about the bullet casing. Yeah, that shit was cool.
How do you see the bullet casings?
There's bullet casings on the thing.
He's talking about the variant guide.
Yeah.
In the variant guide.
Oh.
Yeah, not in there.
But yeah, that shit is cool as hell.
Like if you look at the bullet casing above it, the reflection of it looks like the logo.
I did put in my feedback that I think this should be randomized because right now you're just doing. It's more training your muscle memory than it is actual aiming, but
true. Why don't you keep this one the same and then move up from there? You know.
Sure.
Yeah, the next one's random. I don't know. Make this one random. The last one. Yes.
Yeah, I actually I put in a suggestion for having. Holy shit!
Nice job.
Hold on. Fuck me. I think that's I think that's my best time.
Dude, I did way better than that. That's it.
No, I mean like I don't know. I think that might be like my best time. Hold on. I gotta look back.
That dude's like, that's your best. Wow.
I mean like because hey, I'm running on an i7 over here. I'm limited. When I was on that fucking PC at that Phase warehouse, 7 seconds on this course.
Is that porn?
Nice.
Like I don't even know how to explain it. I need to take that PC and buy it from them. Cause like holy shit.
What's worse? Like you go in somebody's computer and be like, oh, I'm like, let's see all the porn you watch, and then there's no porn. Is that worse?
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, it's all video games.
It's all video games.
It's like, okay.
Hey, he's trying to create a persona.
I'm sad.
Is that your persona?
I was wondering what was going on.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm overreacting with my sleepy brain. Let's see, which one was the highest? Was it 181 or was it? Did I get something higher than? Oops.
Oh, this higher 120 FOV. It feels so good.
Yeah, my highest time bonus for the first range, not knowing what my score was at LA, is 181. And then that's with 100% accuracy, but I still got to work on my timing. I'm still trying to get the fast sensitivity down with flicking.
I'm still trying to get used to M and K. I've been controller for so damn long at this point.
Oh man, I feel you there, dude. When I first started playing on PC, I dedicated about a whole fucking few months to it just to get like the feeling down and everything. And I had some serious fucking calluses that started forming on my hands that I never knew I even could get calluses in certain areas.
Dude, I had the opposite with controller because I grew up computer gaming because my parents had a computer. So I always computer gamed. And yeah, I went to controller when I bought a PlayStation 3. I was just like, I have a problem with my thumb now. Like, I injured it, because I played a lot of NHL, and you have to, use the right.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then, like after a while, like playing, because I love that game so much. Like the next day, I would have a twitch, like I would have muscle spasms in my thumb, and it would just shake, and it was insane. And then it would be to a point where I couldn't move my thumb.
So it sounds like you got a gamer's thumb at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of pro gamers have that. They usually have to take like a week or two off from doing anything because of it.
Yeah.
Do those I don't know what they're called, the little controller extensions to make the joysticks taller, do those help? I don't use them. So.
Changes precision.
one thing I'll recommend, not controller wise, but something kind of like that for like a mouse and keyboard standpoint, if you think about it. I have a stand for my mouse that holds the cord so that it's not dragging on anything. So it's it's like a little, like, it's got little fucking, what do you call them?
Yeah, I see those things.
Springs on them, and it just holds it in. It's fucking great. Best investment, best $20 investment I ever made.
Where'd you get that from?
Just Razer.
Online?
You can, like, companies and stuff. Yeah, a bunch of people got it. Yeah. That's what it was. See, I completely forgot the fucking name.
What is it for? What does it actually do, I guess?
It just holds your mouse cable in the air suspended.
Yes.
And it has a spring on it so that if you pull on it, your retention doesn't pull the cable.
Plus it doesn't get in the way.
So
yeah.
It makes your wired mouse feel
Hey, Artix, right here it says player hideout. View full patch notes. In your face. Well, I called it a patch. You're like, it's not a patch. I'm like, well, it's a patch notes, man. It says patch notes right there, dude.
Go ahead and click on it.
Yeah, patch notes. Watch some side snapshots. Yeah.
There's no update for the hot
What was that?
Not picking up what you're putting down. Oh, yeah.
I don't see it.
Damn it.
Oh, yeah, they do look the same. You're right, yeah.
How did I do that? I like, my guy kind of like kicked off of this barrier. I want to see if I can like no, it was like he was on it, like kind of like, I don't know, it was weird to explain. Like I landed on this, but you can't really land on, you can't walk up this, but I landed on it and I like kind of like did a little slide off hop without even jumping. I kind of want to like replicate that and see if I could like kick flip off of it. You know, like kick. Yeah, doing kick flip aerials off of fucking barriers, brah.
That would be funny if you find some kind of weird thing and you shoot off and you get like super high jumps.
Yeah, dude, like fucking super jump real quick.
Now you're doing some blood sport stuff there.
There we go. See, like, I gotta try and get the timing down for when I land on these objects, so that I can flick off of them.
Has anybody tried to get on top of the level yet?
Somebody's probably tried. I know somebody got out of the map. No idea how.
I know they went down. I'm just trying to see if anyone went up.
Yeah, I was watching them. You guys let me get to the meeting, but I appreciate you guys helping me with the setting up the variant thing. I can't believe I didn't have it correct this entire time.
And if you don't know in the future, like, by all means, feel free to ask.
Hell yeah, man.
For sure. All right, guys.
Peace out.
Later. Someone needs to find an elevator glitch.
Who says it's an elevator?
It's a term.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Does anybody ever remember playing Rainbow Six? Old game.
Like, you could change your shit on the spot. Rainbow Six.
No, where you would be walking up a ladder, and you'd hit like a button on your router, and you would lag up to like the ceiling.
Oh.
These kids were doing this shit to get on top of shit that they shouldn't be on. Be on top of shit they shouldn't be onto. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're all just killing people. Can't see nothing.
It didn't fix the fire.
Basically, an old version of a lag switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the fire.
Unplug your fucking router or whatever for 10 seconds. And then back in.
It looks so beautiful from right here. And then...
Wait, you don't like the billboarding?
I know, I love the fire, but I just wish it wasn't a vertical flame. But what do you expect? It's all good.
No, I want all my flames to be vertical. That's the only kind I want.
Oh my god, actually, you know, yeah, that was some poor wording. They're horizontal. Yeah.
I keep
Did
on
anybody
trying
used to play?
Slide cancel.
Oh, slide cancel. Yeah, I don't think that's coming. And I personally, I hope it doesn't. But I think it is.
No, they covered that.
Yeah.
They don't want people zipping around and shit.
I'm already zipping around. Zip. Zoop.
Well, I don't want people zipping around, so they didn't knock off the possibility of it, whether it's being infinite or if there's one move that you can do.
I know there's probably going to be some stuff, some cool gear that'll help you get a little bit of that edge for the VSM.
On stair, dial it in.
Let's see that aim assist do work.
Did anybody used to play the game Kitty Cannon? On Addicting Games? You know, a little flash game?
What was it called?
Kitty Cannon?
I played Kitty Cannon and Thing Thing Arena. Those two are my shit.
Chicken punch.
I don't know what made me think of it. But
What up, B4?
What you eating, man?
Some peanuts.
How does it feel?
Tasty.
How does it feel?
How's what feel? Oh, you're so funny, B4. Oh, you got me so good. I'm uncomfortable. How's it doing over there, Mr. Architect's feeling embarrassed today?
He's that they fucking reworded my whole question. Didn't ask what I asked.
What'd you say, Rick? You did say feeling better.
And I fucking did it again.
Hey, well, the game's still tin-proof, so that's cool. Yeah, no fall damage. Yeah, tin-proof.
Whoa.
Alright, guys. Gotta go to IKEA. Everybody have a good day.
You too.
You
Oh,
too,
God.
sir.
Good luck in IKEA. Don't get lost.
It's a nightmare every time.
Right, it
Peace out,
is.
everybody.
Get those meatballs.
Yeah.
Get some.
Don't trust meatballs.
That's actual.
I used to go to IKEA just to get ice cream and meatballs.
What?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend would go to IKEA and we'd go the back way and just go and get, you know, ice cream or meatballs or something. Who made these crosshairs? You know, that's what I want to know.
Hey, don't be bagging on the crosshairs. It's original.
What?
Dude,
Really? Awesome. 2 little forks?
It's awful.
Honestly,
horrible. What are you
after like plus 5 hours of using the and like learning how it works and where to aim.
Yeah, you have to actually be inside of it. That was the weird part.
You got to be inside of the gun. You got to be one with the gun.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was gonna be above, and I was like, "What's going on here?" I was like, "Oh, it's inside. It's where it starts to like V
Yeah,
out."
it's right where that V is. Right where where the neck of it. And you want to know why I love it? Because it's
Why?
a V for victory, motherfucker.
Oh, or vengeance.
That too.
Or violence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, boy. See, we're getting what they're picking.
Or velocity.
Yeah. You know,
Or
I kind of want to. I kind of should have asked Doc when I was there. I was like, did you have anything to do with the crosshairs becoming a V? Because I mean,
not at all.
That'd
Not
be funny if it wasn't like part of their plan to make it like a V, but it just kind of came out like that.
There was zero plan of it.
Zero plan of it being thought of as violence or victory.
Who would have ever guessed, right?
Or veracity. Was it veracity?
Yeah. Veracity. Veracity.
See, you ever say something and then you think it sounds not English, and then you're like,
Yes.
"What the fuck did I just say?"
All the time.
Yeah.
Or you know what the worst is? Is when you're about to say something, but you get something stuck in your head, and then you say it, and you're like, "What the hell's the word? I can't say it right."
Oh yeah.
I got this one thing in my head. Yeah, verisimility. You're like, what? Hold on.
Oh my god.
Verisimility.
Yeah.
And then it's like stuck.
And Rob responded, and it was like, nobody here knows what that means.
What does that mean?
Verisimilitude is like acting through something to make it real.
Veracitude.
Veracitude.
Yeah.
Verisimilitude.
Verissa what?
Verisimilitude?
Verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude.
Yeah.
Can you spell that?
Sure.
Spelling bee.
VERS.
How would you know if you're wrong? You know what I mean?
Okay, before.
Holy shit.
I do like if you shoot the lights, smoke comes out, like heat smoke.
Yeah, if you shoot it like,
you know what I mean?
I wish they turned off if you shot them.
That would be true, yeah.
I think they're gonna have dynamic environments.
I wish I could get in this forklift.
Right now, it'd be cool to have.
Also, I feel like the yeah. I also feel like the forklift should be more new age, not so forklifty.
The red light in the gun, the little LED. If you don't have the gun equipped, you can see that LED through all the textures.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but it's also fucking early. I'm sure they'll.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the early build thing, but it's
Yeah, just
what
slap
led to
some,
that
make it
color.
look good, skin kind of on everything, and
Well,
wow
what's
people.
cool about the
and
way
we'll go to Grey
Unreal
Box
Engine
soon.
5 works is that that gun is not its own innovation. That gun is actually the model that you see against the wall, but close up in first person. So it's like it's not its own animation. It's the same gun. Like the same one.
It's an entity.
I wish it had a flashlight attachment.
Hey, don't be stealing my flashlight.
No, I said flashlight, not fleshlight.
I heard flashlight.
Don't you be stealing my flashlight.
Why would I steal that? Why would I steal that?
You never know.
Who would who would even get a use one?
That would be some fucked up shit, man. Imagine.
Could you imagine, like, oh, yeah, on eBay, used?
Oh no. No, see, no,
eBay,
that
like,
shit be on
offer 'em for
Craigslist,
something.
dog.
Would be on offer up. Or Wish.
Oh my god. Yeah. Some.
It's just an artisanally used.
Oh my god. Only
Hey, man.
used for emergencies.
Wish is probably the biggest ripoff I've ever seen.
I've actually
Apple
gotten
bird.
some okay shit from it, but most of it's bullshit.
My friend thought he was ordering an authentic Penguins jersey. and it took 9 months for it to get there.
Because it was being made in China. Or being made in a Vietnamese sweatshop.
Or maybe that's the problem. It wasn't in a sweatshop, and that's why it took so long.
Yep, no, it wasn't. Definitely not in a sweatshop, because that shit would have got to you in like a fucking day.
It was probably made in an old folks' home.
When he got it, he was like, bro, this is supposed to be signed. And I was like, well, look at the signature. He's like, bro, this is Chinese characters. You're so dumb, bro. Like, how much did you spend on this? $15. And you thought it would be authentically signed? Like, okay. Okay. Let's think. Let's think.
Let us think.
It's like you do a better job sharpening over it yourself with whatever signature you want.
Hey everyone.
Howdy.
Hey. Have you guys noticed that some places will show bullet hit marks and some places
Yeah, concrete on the ground. Like in some places on the ground, it'll.
in some places on the concrete. Well, it's weird.
It's just they gotta add it in.
True.
And I remember Doc was talking about it that they gotta add that in. That fix will be coming soon. I think it was on Hobbs' video that he made at the ending.
Hello.
Hello. Speaking of hello, what time is it? I gotta start making dinner. And hopefully come back and hang out with you guys later tonight if I don't pass out.
Make enough for the whole class.
Yeah, you gotta make enough for the whole class here.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be making tons of tacos, and also also making some nice cheesy rolls.
Ooh. For
me.
Ooh. Not for the class.
The tacos are for you.
Damn. I do like tacos.
I got the cheesy stuff because I'm a cheesy man.
You a cheese fanatic?
I never used to be. An ex of mine like got me into cheese. I know it's a weird thing to say, but yeah.
No, not at all. I mean,
hello.
It was mostly just because she would feed cheese to her dog, and then she'd have a slice, and then she'd offer me one, and then I'd eat one.
I mean, like the dog?
Yeah, dude, the dog loved cheese, man. I don't know how to tell you.
Yeah, dogs love cheese.
It was
Dogs
fucking
love-
awesome. I didn't know. I was like, this
Man,
dog
wicked
eats the
farts.
cheese? Oh my god, no wonder that dog smelled like shit whenever it farted.
Oh,
Jesus.
Farts, man.
I mean, if
Oh,
she was
man.
giving that dog like pepper jack or something.
I don't know if only like American.
There's probably mozzarella or American.
I'm pretty sure it was mostly American. No, I don't. That's not I mean like she would get like different types of cheese out even after
you sound
getting
so offended
the
for
fucking.
no reason.
Well, because the cheese is good. She'd have good cheese. That's the problem, and that's why it got me hooked.
So, like a nice brie.
Oh, anything you could think of.
Brie.
Like the fucking. She had pepper jack, jalapeno, fucking cheese. I don't know where she got it from. I never even asked. I probably should have.
Hello.
I had then. What is this other one? There was this Swiss cheese that she bought from like a deli. or something that was fucking bomb as fuck. And I still regret not knowing where she got it.
Yeah, I like a good provolone.
I haven't had a good provolone in a minute. But yeah, alright, I'm gonna get going. It was fun talking to you guys. Glad to have your voices being heard. Scream it louder, scream it higher. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
I do wish they still had somebody like Lou